What's good, fam? Welcome to the Skate Mob Podcast. We're about to take the streets by storm. Get ready to hang out with us. From tricks to trips and everything in between. We'll be talking to pros, amateurs, and beginner skaters. Sharing stories, hyping up the community. Whether you're a seasoned skater or just getting started. Or we could just chat. So buckle up, stay tuned, it's about to get real. Motherfucking Backstreet, we're here with Ryan Loewy, the infamous Ryan Loewy, the most loved and the most hated in the Blade game right now. What is good, Ryan? Thank you for joining the Skate Mob Podcast. What is good?
What's good, Mike? How you doing, man?
How you doing, man? Yo,
I'm hanging.
I checked in a few of your lives, man. Those shits was pretty
Yeah,
nice, man. I like it.
yeah. I mean, like, uh, I try to have a genuine conversation with anybody that like I'm speaking with. You know what I mean? I don't like to follow those like rudimentary questions of like, when did you start skating? And who's your favorite skater? Shit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
try to just give the people a more genuine kind of journalism, I
Yeah, give
guess.
him let's hear a little introduction of yourself.
Yeah.
Like who is
So
Ryan Loewy?
my name. So, I was born Ryan Loewy. In the process of changing my last name to Breslin to honor my mother who passed away from COVID in 2020. I don't have really a good relationship with my father, and I just felt, that I don't want to carry a legacy that I don't feel um, is worth carrying, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, I changed my last name. I'm in the process of doing it legally. So I go by Ryan Breslin now, but a lot of people know me as Ryan Loewy. But yeah, I mean, I've been working in Blade media probably, I would say, fuck. I mean, I first started writing about skating around like the early 2000s for like skatehouse.com, if
Nice.
you remember.
Was that your
Yeah.
first?
So that was probably my first incident of like writing about skating, and like I was like a BMAG message board rat, like growing up and shit. So
Nice.
like I would get to like the drama and bullshit and everything, and I always enjoyed the message board because that was like an arena for people to just like fucking talk. You know what I mean? Like it was like people could say anything and like it might be true, it might not, but like it was engaging and interesting. So that like my basis of like drama knowledge, all that shit, like heavily influenced by that. And then I accidentally got into photo late 2000s. I wanted to like go to school for fashion design, but I didn't get into the school I wanted to. So I had a camera at the time to take pictures of like the clothes I was making, and I decided to go to school at a local school in Long Island for photography. And I didn't really take it seriously at first. And then, like, after my first girlfriend broke up with me, I was like, oh, what the fuck do I have in my life? And I
Go
was like, well, I
skating.
have yeah, a skating photo, and, whatever. So I started to take that more seriously. And then around like 2009, 2010, I transferred to the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan, and there was when I like met people like Craig Benaboo and like Malik Ashby, and I met you. I remember me and you like shot together.
Yeah, yeah, we did.
Remember
Yeah, hell yeah, I remember that.
on your rooftop? Like fuck, how long? That's got to be like 15, 20 years ago now,
Yeah, yeah, it
almost.
was. Yep. That was
So,
a good scene.
yeah. So like I moved out. I moved into Manhattan, and I was there for like a year or two, and then I dropped out of school because of student loans, and I moved back in with my mom for about a year or two, and then came back to New York. And throughout that time, I started to like shoot for BMAG more and like do like contributing work. But the original person that like put me on in blading was Craig Benaboo of I Roll NY. So like
Nice.
Craig gave me my first
Shouts to
feature.
Craig, Iro, New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big shout out to Craig, because like Craig has always been like a huge supporter of me, and like always, I'm like, I've always respected Craig's efforts. Like he's always been like really fucking good with like graphic design and like photo and shit like that. So Craig has been like a huge fucking like huge person in my life that like without him I probably wouldn't be where I'm at. So with Craig's help, he like put me on to BMAG and they picked me up around 2010, 2011. They hired me to shoot one of the bitter cohorts.
So how'd you feel when you started like messing with the BMAG magazine? How was the feeling when you got that first gig?
It was interesting, but it was very like chaotic because like at the time, like with what like so BMAG, for people that don't know, like BMAG has been around, pretty much since about the same time as Daily Bread, maybe like a few after.
Yeah.
So I had a few issues of BMAG and like I was like lukewarm to them because like some of their stuff like I wasn't crazy about like their layout design and whatever, but they pretty much hired me. And at the time my assigned editor was this guy Dave Bloom, and Dave was just like, right, just go and shoot it, like I don't give a fuck what you shoot, just go and shoot this story. So I went out there and it was like me and Drew Humphrey. You know Drew Humphrey,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it was like me and Drew, and we went out there. I remember it was like me. Hold on, one sec. It was me, Drew, and like Quan Trin, and we drove. I picked Drew and Quan up from Brooklyn, and we drove about 15 hours to Detroit. And so we shot. I shot like the majority of the comp,
So you're going out
and
there as photographers and video
yeah.
photographers.
We were
Yeah.
going. We were going out there like what would be called as like you were on assignment,
Yeah.
for publication. So we went out there and we were given press passes and like I shot the comp and whatever. And I turned over everything to BMAG, and I did have two of my images published in print, which was like my first time getting published.
Nice.
But I'll never forget when I got the issue, they miscredited my photos. So like all the photos that I shot and all the photos that Drew shot, like anything Drew shot got credited to me, and anything that I shot got credited to
Oh, I just got
Drew.
in reversed.
Yeah, it's weird.
So yeah, I was
What the
confused
fuck?
when I got
You
the
know what I mean?
shit.
Yeah,
And it was
and I
published and
can't
everything, right?
remember. Yeah, I can't remember if we got paid or not. I'm pretty sure they did like compensate us, but it wasn't like a lot. Definitely didn't cover our travel costs. So I shot that, and then I went back the next year, shot again, and then they had one of the biggest like things I ever like experienced with like being a bleed photographer was about a year or so later, they reached out to me and they wanted me to shoot the San Diego um, Open, the SDSF Open.
That's
And
a contest out there.
which like it had a run but not long. So
Hmm.
they flew me out, they paid my flight, and I went out there and I shot that. And I wasn't really happy with how they handled my stuff because like I talked to my editor and I was like, listen, we're gonna like this is what I want to call it, and I'm gonna try and like what I was trying to do was what like people do today where they do like live updates and shit like that.
Hmm.
I was like, let's fucking give everybody updates as much as possible of what's going on.
This is early 2000s, or like
Yeah, this is like
five,
I'm
six, maybe.
like 2011,
Oh, 11.
2012,
Yeah. Okay.
right? So I go out there, I shoot that, and they kind of mishandle it, and I was pissed off because I was like, dude, like I came out here and like a lot of it I had to front myself and I didn't get reimbursed, and then they kind of like mishandled the content. So I kind of like had a falling out with BMAG at that time, and I said fuck you, and I just walked away. And then about a year or two later, Billy had the NYC invite, and I went and I shot that. And that
Was
was
that on
around the
that was under the bridge, right, in Brooklyn? The
yeah,
first one?
the first one, yeah.
Yeah, that
Where
was a
like
big one. Hmm.
Billy and Hakeem and Brian all like built the set and everything. And
With the
I remember I
dumpsters
was
and
there.
shit like that. Yeah, I remember. I was there.
Yeah, all that shit. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And so I went out there and I told BMAG, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go shoot this. So like if you guys want to pick it up, like you can, but like kind of don't give a fuck if you don't. So around that time, so I shot that first one, and it wasn't really that good. But then the next year, I went to shoot the next one, and at that point, I had been shooting the New York Rollerblader series where I did that like top and bottom portrait shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came into that competition with that concept in mind, and I was like, dude, I'm just going to shoot portraits. Like, I'll shoot skate photos, but I'm going to shoot the portraits because I think those are more engaging.
Is that the portraits
So,
where it's like the face on the top and the shoes
yeah,
on the bottom?
yeah.
Those are great.
So, yeah, thank you. And I have to credit Dave Toro for that because that was originally his idea.
Yeah, that was
So
great.
Dave Toro was at the forefront of doing like the promo, branding, and all that shit for the invite. And he was running ODMY at the time, and me and Dave had linked up because we both had similar tastes in like what we wanted to see in skating, and like we had a mutual respect for one another. So I remember one day we went out shooting, and then he brought me back to his place, and we were like talking shop. And I was telling him, I was like, yeah, dude, I have this idea. Like, I want to photograph every fucking rollerblader in New York.
What
And I
kind
was like,
what
dude,
kind of photo what kind of camera you had during that time?
during that time, I had a Nikon D300, and I had like a shitty 18 to 70 lens. Like my setup wasn't like amazing,
Mm-hmm.
but we discussed the idea, and he was like, "Yo, like I had this." I told him my idea. My idea was I wanted to shoot just like studio portraits, like a controlled environment of all of the skaters in New York. But I also knew that, like, as everybody knows, coordinating with rollerbladers can be fucking hard. So, like, especially if I did a controlled setting, like, that was going to be fucking tough. So, like, we were talking about shit, and he was like, yo, like, this, I had this idea for the invite. Like, I was going to shoot these portraits of all the attending pros and do these, like, top and bottom, like, portraits, but, like, combine them. And I was like, yo, that's a fucking good idea. And he's like, yeah. He's like, but like I'm not gonna probably shoot it. And I was like, well, I told him my idea, and I was like, do you give a fuck if I kind of like borrow that? And he's like, dude, do your fucking thing. So one day it was like, I remember the exact date. It was like September 12th, 2011. And there was a session at 12th and D. And I went there. I had a camera that I rented from my school. And I went up to Jesus Medina, and I was like, yo, dude, can I take a portrait of you real quick? And he was like, yeah, sure.
This
And
is the
so I
beginning,
shot
the
that.
beginning of
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, this is like the fucking beginning of this project. And he was like, yeah, dude, whatever. So I shot that portrait, and then I shot like probably like 20 or 30 of them.
Nice.
And I got back to my dorm, and like I downloaded them, and like I did that first layout of the top and bottom. And at the time, I was interning for this editorial photographer, Ryan Fluger, and I showed him the work, and he was like, well, you should do it side by side. And like I looked at him, and I was like, no, dude, like fucking no. I said, these are portraits. Like it has to be a portrait. This isn't a landscape. This is a fucking portrait.
Yeah, you
You
put on
idiot.
your wall. Yeah, it's my vision.
Yeah.
My vision, you fucking asshole. Let's go.
Yeah, so I was like, fuck that. And I continued the idea. And so fast forward about a year or two later, when Billy had the second invite, and I went out there and I shot those portraits again. And BMAG was kind of like, he was in some limbo shit, but Dave McNamara from Wheel Scene was heavily starting up his publication. And so I put the body of work out to like a few editors, one of them being Dave, and he saw it and he was like, right. He's like, can we do this as a feature? Like, these are fucking great. And I was like, yeah, dude, like whatever. Like, I was like, sure. So he put them up, and then I remember like a few days later, like John Julio hit me up because I had photographed like Proskauer, Sizemore, and like a few guys on Valo.
Yeah, so your photography is like getting up there, like high, good images.
It can fucking, some traction. So John was like, yo, can you send me these? I really want to post them. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I sent them to John, and he posted them, and it took off and whatever. And I kind of got known as sexually deviant as it sounds. I got known as the top and bottom guy. So,
So wait, so out of your portraits, they just called you the top and bottoms.
mhm.
That's
Well,
funny.
like that's what it got like referred to as
Yeah.
or some shit. Um, so that happened, and then like about a few years later, around like 2015 or so, like I was living back in New York and whatever, and like I started shooting skating on a more consistent basis. And I started like reaching out to BMAG again because they had changed editors, and I started pitching stories. I was like, "Yo, this is going on. This is going on. Like whatever." So 2016 comes around, and Adonis Taylor, he started doing the New York Skate series,
Mm-hmm.
and so I started going out and shooting that. And then I want to say the one that they did in Staten Island, that was when I met Bashi. And when I met Bashi, he just got fresh out of jail, and like I shot that comp and I handed it over to BMAG and they published it.
Nice.
And my my editor in chief at the time, Yasik, he was like, Rye, you should really do a story on Bashi. Like, there's a story to be told because, he's fresh out of jail and, like, whatever. So I reached out to Bashi. We met at that comp, and we had a discussion and whatever. So I reached out to him again and was like, hey, dude, like, BMAG really wants me to do a story on you. Would you be interested? And he was like, yeah, of course. So I went out to meet Bashi one day and we shot, some portraits and whatever. And then I turned them over to BMAG, and Yasip was like, dude, this is great, but I just need a little bit more on the photo side. So I was
But
like, all right,
before we get into more
yeah,
into Bashi and stuff like that, so
yeah,
like when you in session, when you out there
mm,
with your camera and your gear and all that
yeah.
stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
what is that perfect photo like that you're looking for before the session like starts and finishes? Like what are you looking
That's
for? You looking for like a jump? Looking for like a dope
um,
ride?
not really. I would say if
As a
anything, like
photographer,
yeah, I mean, for me,
because
when
I
I'm
know you
taking a,
skate. I know you skate. I really haven't seen you skate, but I
yeah,
know you
sure.
skate. So like, what are you
Yeah,
actually looking for? Like
um,
a
for
perfect.
me, I think like a good photograph is like it's composed of like a lot of things, right? Like so like obviously your composition, your lighting and shit like that,
Yeah, yeah.
angle and what, and then also too like what kind of trick they're doing. Now, I'm not the type of person where it's like you have to be doing this kind of trick on this kind of spot. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
So you know exactly when to take the photo.
Yeah,
That
I
perfect
think it's like,
pose.
yeah, I think it's just understanding what it takes to make a compelling image. And I don't think that you have to do a true capsule or huck yourself on a 30 stair to make a
Yeah.
good photo. It's really dependent on me to take whatever I'm seeing and make it as dynamic as possible. So, like, I just really look for, I mean, obviously, style, execution, those all play into a good photograph, right?
Yeah.
Like, both on my behalf and the skater, too. So, like, I would say, like, it's really just like, it's really dependent on who I'm working with. Like, what kind of skating are they
What level?
promote? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, what are they doing? And, like, for me to be like, and I think this goes for anybody of being a good photographer is like, if you're a good photographer, you can make a great photo out of anybody,
Absolutely.
regardless.
I believe in
You
that. Yeah.
know, like regardless of what their skill set is, like it's on you to make the image good. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like for me, like I like the challenge of working with somebody that might not be the best skater to make them look good because like
Yeah.
you know it's not always about the trick or the difficulty of the trick. It's just it's execution that's really important, the style, you know what I mean, like that. So for me, like it varies. I wouldn't say that it would be just like one particular thing or another. I think it's a combination of a variety of things. So yeah, I mean, it varies, you know what I mean? Like, I think for me to be like successful is that I have to be thrown into anything and need to be able to come out on top, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Do,
So,
do you have a
you know,
favorite like photo that got published?
I would say probably the photo that I shot of Alex Roscoe doing a back or like a dark side backslide when I went and shot him for BMAG for Skater of the Year back in like 2017 or so.
Nice. You
That was,
gotta get that up there.
yeah,
Nice.
really challenging shoot for me because I only had like 3 or 4 days to shoot with him. And when I worked with Alex, he's very, very, very particular about what he skates and like what he wants to do.
Very persistent, right? Like very like I'm gonna
And,
do it and that's it. You gotta watch them.
yeah, went to probably 15, 20 spots. And out of those,
For
we
real.
probably,
20 spots for one skater on a
yeah,
photography day.
yeah. And we shot maybe 4 or 5 of them. You know what I mean? And
Wow.
also,
It's a whole
too,
day.
yeah, I mean, and when I went out there too, it was in January, so it was fucking freezing. So, and we also didn't have anybody filming, so I didn't want to put. I it's Alex Raskow,
Yeah,
right? So
you're
like,
taking a
I,
that's like a you're
yeah,
you top of the league of photography right there.
yeah. I
That's
mean, dude,
amazing.
like,
NBA
yeah, I
shit.
mean, like, yeah, I mean, getting to shoot with him, I mean, like, that's like fucking, the mecca.
Hmm.
So, I didn't want to push him any further than what he wanted to do. So like we would go to like these wild ass spots that like, yo, this could be a sick pick, but like he wasn't feeling it. And like I respected that because I'm like, well, you're one of the best rollerbladers in the world. So
Yeah,
like
yeah, for sure.
if you don't want to fucking do it, dude, I'm not gonna fucking force you. So we shot we
So
shot
what
that
was that?
profile.
What was that the highlight of your in photography career?
My,
Getting Alice
I
Broscoe.
would say I would say that was probably one of my pinnacle moments.
Nice.
Sure, because working alongside Alex, he, like I said prior, he's got a fucking standard of what he wants, and I respected that, and so we shot down there for about 3 to 4 days, and the kind of sad thing though about that whole thing that I shot was that was like a month or two before Julio ended Valo and started them.
Oh, okay.
So
Don't tell me you had the
the
Valo skates on. You were doing that photography shit.
yeah, dude. So the shelf life on those photos
Reebok and
were
Nike right there. Like
yeah,
fuck,
it was
fucking
fucked,
up my
dude. Like
shit.
yep, and like it was really fucked because so like the whole premise that I built that story on that I pitched to BMAG at the time because I was still a photo editor and like I was working under Yasep was I was like, it was the first time we were doing an awards. And it was also going to be our first digital issue because I was like, listen, we can't just do an article online. I was like, this has to be something more.
Mm.
So I convinced them to do an online issue. And, it, there's like a few things about that whole story that I was like kind of pissed off about because like even though BMAG had paid for my flight, I paid for everything else. So like I wasn't making any sort of money off of it or whatever. If anything, I was luckily breaking even. So I turned everything over to them.
Hustle and
And
grind. All right. Yep. That's it.
yeah, so I turned everything over to them and we were working on the print on this issue and I remember they sent me like the preview, and so the original cover was supposed to be like one of those top and bottom portraits of Alex, and instead they just used this like regular portrait that I shot of him. And I remember when they sent me over the cover, they flipped the image to like whatever reason. And I was like, dude, why the fuck did you do that? And
Oh,
Alex said, he said the same. He's like, right, why did they flip your image? And I was like, dude, I don't know. Like, even though I'm photo
it was like an
editor, like,
error, or they just did it on purpose.
yeah, they just did it for whatever fucking design reason that they did. So You know,
That shit
so
sucks. That shit,
they
that shit fucks up the
yeah,
photo. Like, you know, you
yeah,
take a
they
dope
like fucked with
photo.
my without even asking me. So,
Yeah.
that came out, and then like a month later or so, John announced that Fallow was over, and like that pretty much fucked any image that I shot at him because like he wasn't gonna fucking like that wasn't gonna get
Now this is
replay. I
this
mean,
is shit that people don't really fucking know. Like when they actually like a
yeah,
consumer gets the fucking magazine and it's like, oh shit, and then they look
like
at it as a
people,
great photo, and then when you fucking get it, you're like, oh, what the fuck? You want to
mhm,
do a field goal to the fucking magazine type shit, you
yeah,
know?
and so like on top of it too, like that issue, I probably shot and produced, I want to say like 60 to 70% of that entire issue. Like
Nice.
like I shot like a whole thing on Dead Wheels. I shot a whole like I produced a story on Bobby Spazoff. I did all this shit without any additional compensation. So that
You're
happened.
flaming. You're not.
Yeah,
You're hot. You're hot boy right
yeah,
now.
yeah. So after that, so that was 2017. I was already photo editor, and then around 20, so we had a few more BPSOs, and then 2019 I went to Winter Clash to shoot that story, and I was like, me and Yasip had been talking. He was getting burnt out
Mhm.
from his position. He didn't really want to do it anymore, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to just take over everything? Because you're pretty much running the website." And at that point, I probably produced, I want to say, in the ballpark of 50 to 70 stories, if not more, for BMAG. So I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll fucking become editor in chief. Like, I'm literally running this thing at this fucking point." So I went to Winter Clash. I didn't have the best experience there. My mom got sick while I was there. I'll never forget it. I got really I got really drunk one day because they start serving alcohol very early there, and those beers are fucking heavy. So I got really drunk one day, and like I went to go take a nap because I was like so fucking housed, and I had to shoot the final like right before. So I went to Yasip and I was like, "Yo, I have to go take a nap." And I went in the back of the trade show and I fell asleep. And I got woken up by a phone call from my sister, and she was like, "Yo, I think mom just had a stroke." And I'm
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
"What
My
the fuck?"
condolences.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was fucked up. It wasn't actually a stroke. My mom actually had liver poisoning because she couldn't afford to take. My mom developed an issue with her liver when she had my sister that's older than me,
Mhm.
and so she was on medication, and at the time she couldn't afford it. So she literally was suffering from blood poisoning, and she started to develop like she was like seeing shit. She was becoming delusional, and so
Like
I'll never.
dementia. A little. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Okay.
yeah, she was like developing like dementia or some shit.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget, like right before I left to go to Winter Clash, me and her were talking, and she like said some weird shit to me that was like really off key. And I was like, "Mom, what the fuck are you talking about?" And so I got that phone call, and I was like bugging out because like I was like I was like coming out of like being super housed. And I remember I went outside, and like I'm bugging out, and like Montre was out there, and he's like smoking a blunt, and he sees me, and he's like, "Yo, Rye," he's like, "You okay, dude?" And I start bawling my fucking eyes out. Montre, I don't know, my mom just had a fucking stroke, and blah blah blah. And like, he's like, "Dude, calm down." He's like, "Take a hit of this."
And
So
this is out there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Far from
out.
home.
Like I'm in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I can't like hop on a flight home.
Hmm.
Like I have the, whatever. So like I go through my shit, like I shoot the final and whatever, and like I'm walking back over to the after party, and I remember like I'm fucking bawling my eyes out still because like I'm never gonna see my mom again. Like she's fucking done. And I'm like walking right next to Bobby Spazoff, and Bobby looks at me and he goes, "Dude, are you okay?" I'm like, "Bobby, my mom just had a fucking stroke." Blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So I go back home, and like my mom like recovers and whatever, but like my interest in like doing skate like BMAG and everything like quickly diminishes because I'm like my mom might die, and like I
Yeah,
need
you
to
black out everything. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Hmm.
So like a few months later,
Not to get so deep into it. I really don't want to jump into the subject like
yeah,
that. And I'm sure this is a great story, but
yeah,
um on another note,
yeah.
so for Daily Toast magazine, when did that pop off? When did that come alive?
So Daily Toast is a result of like, so like I wanted to get back into skating. So like right after like the whole thing with my mom,
Yeah,
I
after that.
pretty much
Okay.
I
Yep. Okay.
resigned from BMAG a few months later.
Mm.
I reached out to Michael Baer, who was the original owner, and I was like, Mike, I can't do this shit anymore. I said we have to hand it off to somebody else.
Yeah,
So
this is after your mom's passing and all that stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
so he was like, "That's not a problem, right?" He's like, "Just give me a list of people that you would recommend."
So
So
what's Daily Toast? What
so Daily
so
Toast
what is
is
Daily Toast? Because
yeah. So
for
Daily
people that don't
Toast
know.
was my response to not being rehired by BMAG or
Mm.
anybody else. Nobody wanted to fuck with me because I had a falling out in 2021 with Billy O'Neill and Joe
Yeah.
Atkinson.
Mm.
So, like, when that happened, BMAG got tied into it due to my past involvement with them. So, like, I reached out to, like, Kevin Little and John Lebez. And, like, me and John are cool. Like, John was just like, dude, like, I would, but, like, fucking, like, Kevin is not with it. And I was like, all right, whatever. So, like, one day I was sitting out on my balcony after I moved out to Utah. And I was like, yo, wouldn't it be funny if I started a magazine called Daily Toast and
Yeah.
like did like kind of like a second coming of Daily Bread? And like I thought the idea was funny. And so I hired an illustrator to rebrand the Daily Bread logo to Daily Toast. And before I even launched it, I reached out to Angie Walton, who started Daily Bread. And I was like, hey, and me and Angie know each other. Like, we've had conversations in the past. Me and her have a shared hate for Justin Eisinger. And we were just like, and I was like, hey, this is my idea. And so she was like, let me think it over. But like, honestly, Ryan, just do your fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I did. And I launched it. And like, the premise of it was I'm
It's
just
your
going to
shit
start
now.
yeah, I'm gonna fucking do whatever the fuck I want. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get
As you
anything
should. As you
approved.
should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like because the problem that I had with BMAG was that I always had to run shit by somebody else. Like, oh, I want to do this, and they'd be like either yes or no, and I was like, I was tired of it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I knew that the journalism I wanted to produce was genuine. I wanted to tell good stories, so like I got limited by that, and
Hmm.
like a lot of the video work that like you see on Daily Toast right now that was pitched to BMAG like 2 or 3 years ago. So like me, John, Kevin, and this dude
And they
fucking
said no, it's not skate
yeah,
culture.
they pretty much they rejected it. Like me, John,
We
Kevin,
don't
and
like
like
it.
yeah, they just they weren't for it. And I was like, you guys don't understand. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to like I really want to like really because like I was watching Dark Side of the Ring
Yeah.
and the way they were telling stories about wrestling, I was like, dude, we could do the same thing with rollerblading. Like we have these stories.
Hmm.
And so I pitched it to them and they were like, they were like wishy-washy. And I
Well,
was like,
that's
all right,
that's what
well,
usually happens when you pitching shit
yeah,
to company. They don't like fucking like new ideas and shit. That's what
they
people
just
do.
don't get it. So
Yeah.
like, that's why so like I was like fuck BMAG and then I started my own little like podcast called the Go Fuck Yourself podcast.
Yeah, which
And
is
so
great, by the way.
thank you. So like the premise of the Go Fuck Yourself podcast was I'm gonna tell like stories about skating that either you want to hear or you don't, but I'm gonna tell them anyway.
Hmm.
So like a few of the stories that I originally wrote, it was like one was about Brian Shima, another one was about the NYC invite, and so forth. So like, and
Oh,
like
the audience got something to look for to go for.
yeah,
Yeah,
so like
that,
like I
I
was
like to
really
hear that.
yeah, I was trying to give these like just like genuine fucking stories and
Hmm.
whatever, and like. There was an interest, but like me and Billy were fighting at the time. I wasn't in the best mental health space either. I just lost my mom less than a year prior, so I was fucked up. It wasn't the right time to do it. So
Hmm.
like, I kind of like abandoned it and like I kind of just like left skating for like about 2 years because I had to like focus on like fixing my mental health and
Yeah,
like whatever.
I think
Like
that's
during
a normal thing for a skater to do. I've done it a few
that,
times. People leave and go
fuck,
and come back.
like
Part of growth.
yeah, Yeah. So I went through that period and it was a very tough period where like, I was in a psych ward for almost 3 months and like I almost, killed myself and all this fucked up shit and whatever. And I got through it. And then, so I moved out here to Utah last year and it kind of was like a reset of who I was.
Mhm.
And about like 6 months into it, I started re-exploring photography. And then a few months later, I was like, dude, I miss writing about skating. I
Mhm.
miss shooting skating. I miss being in skating because, like, I love rollerblading,
Yeah.
even though,
Have
I'm
you
not
been
the best.
skating during the periods of time of photography, or you just been
So,
doing photography
yeah,
straight out?
yeah. So, right when, right after, like, me and Billy got into that big fight, I snapped my leg in half at Astoria Park.
You broke your leg.
And yeah, I
Oh,
broke my leg in August of 2021.
the fuck you doing?
And
Oh, that was recent.
Yeah, I snapped my leg and I had to get surgery, and then I had to get surgery again because the surgery wound got infected, and they almost had to amputate my leg.
Wait, so
So
you fell skating and you your leg got infected
yeah,
when you fell and got injured?
yeah. So what happened was I was skating at Astoria Park. I was skating a small ass ledge.
The story part.
I went to go do an AO sole, and my sole foot got caught. So when I jumped out fakey, and when I landed, my left leg bowed out to the left side, and
Wait,
it snapped in half. And
off the
so,
ledge, off the side ledge, you're talking.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. So when they brought me into the hospital, I thought I fractured it, and they were like, "No, dude, you snapped your leg in like three different places. You have to get surgery and plates."
And it got infected at the same time.
Well, that was after it.
Mm.
So they did the surgery, they put the plates in, and then I had to move from where I was living in Queens because me and my girl split up. I broke up with her, and I moved up to Poughkeepsie. And when I had to move, I moved by myself with a broken leg. So I had a surgery wound, and that got infected while I was doing that. So when I
Oh,
went to
okay.
go yeah, so when I went to go do my checkup and they opened up my wound, they saw that one part of it was infected and they were like, yo, we have to remove this portion of your skin and leave the wound open for a month for it to heal. And then we have to do a skin graft. So
Shit.
they said if I don't do that, there's a very, very high potential that my leg would be amputated. So I
Okay.
didn't have,
What
yeah,
skates were you riding during that time? I'm
I
kind of
was skating.
curious.
Yeah, I was skating them 909s, the
Them
Danny.
909s.
Yeah, one of my favorite pairs of skates, dude. Like amazing, but like I still fucked myself up. So I got that surgery. I sat at home in Poughkeepsie for about a month. I would have a nurse come a few times a week to change my wound dressing. And I was on a daily injection of
Skating is no
antibiotics.
fucking joke, man.
Yo, I'm telling you, bro, that was over an AO sole on a 6-inch ledge. Like, are you kidding
And you
me?
haven't skated afterwards, or did you skate
But
afterwards?
So about a year later, after I healed, I really wanted to skate again. So I bought myself a pair of skates and I went to go skate. But the problem was I didn't have health insurance,
Yeah.
so I didn't do physical therapy. So when I put
You
those
didn't wait. You
skates
didn't do
on,
physical therapy after you broke your
nope,
leg.
nope, because I didn't have I, I didn't have the insurance,
I dig
So
it. I dig it. But you got
so
to work it
I
out some type of way.
did. I mean, I tried to do the exercises that
Yeah.
they gave me. Like, I should have been going to a clinic. You know
Yeah.
what I
You
mean?
had something. Okay.
You know what I mean? Especially for the severity of what I had endured.
So you
You
did
know what
like
I mean?
25% of trying to get your shit back together.
Yeah. So I bought. So the following year, like December 2022 ish, I was like, I really want to skate again. So I bought a pair of Aeons
Okay.
and I went to the skate park, and within 2 minutes, my feet were like, no. I was like, fuck.
You didn't break
So,
anything else. No, nothing broke.
right? So I was like, all right, let me try a different pair of skates. So I was like, well, I really liked the 909 Danny Beers I was skating, so I found a pair.
So you got no pair of 909s.
Yeah, last pairs that they had. I bought them from like Shop Task, and I paid full retail for them. And I put them on, and again, had the same fucking issue. and I tried a different pair of Intuit. I spent probably $1,000, $1,500 on trying to get skates that would fit me. And what I failed to realize was that because they put plates in my foot, my left foot got wider. It's not the same size that it was that when I before I got hurt. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I kept trying to try these different skates, not thinking you need to upsize,
Don't tell me you
dude.
did an alley oop so after you got your skates.
I didn't.
That's fucking good.
I'm not that stupid, Mike. So I kind of accepted it for what it was, and I was like, listen, until I get myself, because also too, I was on a bunch of different
Yeah,
medications,
it takes a long time to heal and all that shit.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude, like I
I just
wasn't
recently
physically,
broke my wrist and I'm still healing from that shit. Almost
dude,
broke my
it's a
neck.
lot. As
Yeah.
you get older, injury like recovery takes longer.
Yeah, it
People
does.
don't like that's just how it is. So,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I've kind of just like for now, and it isn't to say that I won't try it in the future, but for now, I've just accepted that, like it's not worth the risk for me to skate. Like I
Okay.
just need,
Aggressive.
you know, but I've got during that time though, I've gotten like because I put on a shit ton of weight from the medication I was on and being inactive and whatever. But since I moved out here, I lost all that weight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back to my original size. I'm physically active, I work out and all that shit. So like
Yeah, the last
if
time
I
I met you, you had your you had like a full set of hair and you was rocking and rolling. Now you like completely
yeah,
straight bald.
exactly. So like, I'm in the process of just healing, mentally, physically, all that shit. And like I trust me, I miss skating. If I could just put on a pair of skates and just roll around,
Wait,
that
so
would
that's
be
what you're gonna do now? Just gonna put on nice
yeah,
fly pair blades on and just cruise around
yeah, like
town in my 6'4",
easy. Yeah, like I would rather just kind of cruise and roll and just enjoy the feeling of movement
Yeah,
than try and re-explore doing skate tricks again,
yeah,
which
that's
like
what I have to do. I just got
you know,
got a pair of 125 millimeters and I
word,
put it on my
word.
Devons and I put them on for the first time when I went to the Vermont Blade Camp and man, that's a new ride.
Yeah,
It's a new
no, for
ride.
sure. And like, I'm just grateful that I didn't lose my fucking leg.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. What was it? It
Uh
wasn't called gangrene. It was just called like an infection or some shit.
yeah, so it was just a basic infection of the wound. I mean, like I'm putting up I wrote an episode actually for the first episode of 10 pages. I had to pull it down because of the branding issue with Angie, so it's going to go back up. But the first episode of 10 pages talks about my history with injuries because
Okay.
I've had that was my worst injury, but I've had pretty similar shitty ones. Like I lacerated the inside of my left leg doing my first handrail, and I broke my arm at a super hick and had to get surgery and plates put in. So like I've had what I hate about myself is that I've had so many fucked up injuries, but have never like had like great skating capabilities. And like it pisses me off because like every time I've gotten severely injured, it was at when I was at my cusp of being good. If that makes
I think that's what
sense.
happens to
you
everybody.
know?
You're not the only one.
Yeah, like
When you
I
fucking
dude,
feel like
like
you nice, you can just
yeah,
fucking fall and bust your
dude,
shit.
like when I lacerated my leg, when I had that first really bad injury, like I was just starting to do handrails, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
then that's back. And then like a year later I snapped my wrist.
Yeah, I
And
gotta
then the
check your
next
Instagram,
year,
see if you got some old skate photos or something.
oh, I
That'd be
got
pretty
you.
good.
I definitely
That's cool.
yeah.
The epitome.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, I've had a checkered past with injuries and shit like that. And I mean, for me at this point, like, where I stand in the industry is like, I just want to be somebody that can tell stories to people and like, like let people know that like you don't have to hold yourself to the standard of doing tricks or whatever. Like your involvement in skating is good enough as it is. Like you're
Do you
here.
have a top five skate photographers besides yourself?
I don't consider I mean I don't consider myself in the top, but top photographers in no random order right now, like currently, I
Yeah.
would say Christian Delfino, um, David. I can't remember his last name, but the guy that's shooting for Mesmer is absolutely fucking amazing.
Okay.
Uh, and then like classics, obviously Brian Chudy, Dan Busta, Brian Konoski would probably fill that out. And there's a handful more. Craig Benaboo is absolutely a fucking gifted individual.
Shouts to the photographers. Yeah. Inline
As
photographers out
like
there.
JP Prumiano, John Lebez, Steve Steinmetz. I mean, there's a handful of it. Sam Cooper. I mean, there's so many people that are making great images. It's kind of hard to keep track. But I feel that we have plenty of talented individuals that take amazing photographs.
Do you have any upcoming projects that people should be expecting soon?
For sure. I mean, I'm working. I haven't dug into it yet. I've started to do the initial process of it, but I am working on the first print issue for Daily Toast.
The first ever print issue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
I got to get a copy of that. I definitely want to see that.
The main focus for the first issue is going to be a story on Angie Walton, the original founder of Daily Bread, because I told Angie, because Angie gave me the green light to use the term Daily Toast. She could have told me to fuck off, and she didn't. So, I feel that on top of the fact that she just started the first fucking skate magazine in the industry, I don't think that woman gets the recognition and respect that she deserves. So, I want to really do what I can.
Gonna give it a flowers. Give it a flowers before anything happens. For she could recognize what else going on. That's great.
Yeah. So, and then on top of it, I just want to, for me with Daily Toast, I want to be a publication that kind of pushes the boundaries and highlights individuals that don't get their flowers. And I feel that female skaters, queer skaters, trans skaters, those that are kind of part of the minority, people of color, shit like that.
Yeah.
They don't get their praise because what I found is that, like most media, it's white based and they focus on white people, straight people. You know what I mean? And as I'm a straight.
The foundation goes where the minorities are, right?
I'm a straight white guy, right? I'm not queer or anything, but I've always fucked heavy with queer people and all that shit. When I was in high school, I was part of the, the LGBT supportive group and all that shit.
Yeah, but you went to high school in the urban community.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I grew up in Long Island, so it was more of a whatever. But I went to a more progressive school, so we had, the Gay Straight Alliance and shit like that.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know what I mean? We were a little bit more progressive than most. So I would just say that if anything, I want this publication to be an outlet to promote those that don't get the recognition that deserve it, and that's really just what I mean. It's a labor of love.
That's why I think that direction should go in the direction that you want it to go. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah.
The other day,
Team Daily Toast.
Yeah, bro. And the other day, I was fucking mad pissed because I had my car towed and went through some shit, and I was like, "Fuck this shit, I'm gonna quit." And then homies reach out to me. My friend, this dude, fuck, I can't remember his name. I had a few homies reach out, and they're like, "Right, please don't keep at it. Just don't let these fuckheads swindle you." And hard because you want when you're doing kind of the shit that I'm doing, where I'm talking about tough subjects and shit like that, you're gonna get a push. You're gonna get people that are gonna be like, "Dude, what the fuck? This is fucked up. Why are you talking shit?" And it's I'm not talking.
Hate them or love them.
Exactly, bro. And
love me. So back to
that
fuck
exactly.
up.
I have to work better on accepting that. As much as
you're gonna
be a brash fucker and be like, "Fuck all of you." I'll still fucking take it to heart when Danny Beer leaves me on red, because it's Danny, I've supported you and been an advocate.
But what actually you doing for what are you doing for the people though? You're actually doing something for the people.
But bro, if I'm sitting here and advocating for you for 5-6 motherfucking years and you don't have the decency to even respond to me, of course I'm fuck you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, fuck you.
I dig it.
I don't give a fuck how good you are. That's a dickhead thing to do. So And like when I make statements like that, I know, even though sometimes I will forget because I'll just get in my head, but like I know that there are people that aren't gonna fuck with it. They're not gonna rock with it, and they're gonna be
Yeah,
like you're
there's
being
plenty. Yeah, there's
fucking
plenty of skaters that fucking that they're really good skaters, but they don't give back to
hmm,
either their community. They feel that
no,
they want
they
to give
don't.
back at a competition like somewhere
Yeah,
down
like
south or so
I
somewhere abroad.
yeah, like for me, like I don't understand that
Mm.
behavior because like why would you turn your back to the people that are supportive of you and
Yeah,
genuinely show you
especially
affection?
hometown. You got to
Yeah,
do it in
dude, like
hometown.
what the
Yeah.
fuck? Like, I mean, shit. Like
Mm.
when Danny and fucking Nemo came out with Program, nobody was fucking with it, and
Mm.
like I was the only person that wrote a story on it. So
Mm.
like, when I see Danny like leave me on red, I'm like, Danny, like what the fuck, dude? Like we've had conversations. I've interviewed you and photographed you and all
Mm.
this shit. If you don't fuck with my vision, I'm not offended, but at the very least, just say to me, "Hey, Rye, I'm too busy." Make up some bull, like give me a response.
Say
You know
something.
what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like, don't
yeah.
leave me on red, dude.
Yeah,
Because like leaving me on red, just what that says to me is I do not give a fuck about you.
yeah.
That's
In a
what it's.
sense, yeah.
Like
Be
maybe not,
human, right? Be human,
you know,
regardless of
but
how much
like
money you're making and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah,
But
dude,
they say
like
money
because
changes people. You shouldn't be a fucking dickhead about it.
well,
So.
even then, so Mike, in my opinion, like this industry never is going to yield the kind of money that can make somebody act like that. You know what I mean?
Yes, it
That,
can. Yes, it can.
all right, fair. All right, I'll agree.
Yes, it can. Because many of these skaters, I'm sure, they come from nothing to, and when they get something, they just act totally different. But that's when,
Yeah,
we start, disliking them when they change,
yeah. I
So
just like for me, like honestly, like I try to
I'm not
remain
speaking to
true to what.
anybody in particular, but,
No, no, no,
I've been in
not at all.
situations
I
like that.
just yeah, I think for me, like like I pride myself on being the genuine person that I am, right? Like so, like, and honestly, at times it's hard to swallow that because you know I'll fucking speak my tongue and then sign myself up into some shit where I'm like, fuck, why did I say
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure.
And, like, at the same time, I'm gonna hold my ground. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, all right, well, listen, I'm gonna own my shit. So like, even with like the bullshit that happened between me and Billy and Joe Atkinson back in 2021, I reached out to Billy, Joe, Miguel, Camino, all these people a few months ago, and I was like, listen, I'm not excusing my behavior. I was manic. I lost my mom to COVID 6 months prior, and that was the last time I ever saw her. And I was fucked up. Regardless of that, that's not an excuse. So I'm apologizing to you for my behavior. So, like, if I, like, I put myself out on the line there because that's the right thing to do, not because it's to, you know, um, what would be the word? I guess, like,
Well,
satisfy people or
well,
like
we all in a different era too of skating. We like in
yeah,
the fifth era, maybe sixth era of skating, and now like
exactly.
we are
We're in
all
a different
adults,
yeah,
totally adults.
we're not in X Games Aaron Feinberg fucking Levi money anymore. Okay.
Yeah,
We're in a
yeah,
different realm now.
yeah.
And honestly, the way I see it is we all need each other. We all need
Still, yeah,
to be
absolutely. Hmm.
we need to be working with one another.
Yeah,
And like but simultaneously, too, that said, we need to be accountable for our actions.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, I don't mind owning what I did in 2021. I know that I acted like an asshole. That said, we also need to be accountable for the
mhm,
way we treat one another. So, like,
yeah,
if you look at the controversy with razors and Jeff Howard breaking his back and they fucking donated $200 and gave a raffle, like,
yeah, yeah,
dude, no. Like, no, this man has skated for you for 20 years and he almost fucking was paralyzed, and that's what you can do. That's not cool.
yeah,
And so, like, when Yandro spoke about it too, I fucking applauded him. I was like, yeah,
yeah.
dude, like, fuck
That was
yeah,
a cool one. That was a cool one.
yeah, dude,
But you know
that
what?
was
The
fucking,
guy is. He said what he said, but you are a grown ass adult. You got to take accountable what you need to do. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And to go out publicly like that, it was dope, but at the same time, kind of childish. At the same time, you should have just said it right then and there when your deal was there.
Yeah, but also too, like I think with Yandrell's situation, dealing with razors and the kind of
Yeah,
conglomerate
yeah,
that they are, I felt that he was put into a corner with that,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think he would listen. That guy is like,
I'm sure he's a
he's like,
very smart, intelligent man. He
yeah,
just,
no, dude, a fucking engineer. That guy's fucking brilliant. So
hmm
like, I don't think he did that for social media clout or to stir
no,
the
I don't think
pot.
he just did it. Like probably just out of fucked
Yeah,
upness,
I was
business wise.
frustrated. Yeah, and
hmm
I understand frustration because I've gone through the same fucking thing
hmm
and had my back up against the wall and wanted to say shit, and like I'm being told, well, if you say
Yeah,
shit, then you're fucking blacklisted.
Razors probably
That's
used
fuck.
a 2000 tactics on a 2000 person.
Mm,
Not. How can I rephrase this shit? Razors probably used their tactics that they were using a long time ago and try to use that shit now, and it wasn't working. And
exactly, and like that's the thing with razors, where it's like, listen, I don't discredit any of their
I dig it.
contributions.
Hey, if you're mad, you speak about it. You know what I'm saying? If they can't
Yeah,
fix the
I
fucking issue,
listen.
then
I
you shouldn't fuck
think
with it.
everybody should just be accountable. Like if somebody presses you on some shit, like address it.
Take
Like
care of it. Yeah.
like speak on it. Like don't ignore it, because like ignoring it is just gonna make you look guilty. So like
Yeah.
speak on it. And
Yeah.
even if you might have your back up against the wall, like at least speak. Like talk about it and like have a conversation. And like
I gotta
don't.
get the raises guy on the fucking podcast.
I
Save
know
my pod.
you
Yeah, I think I
that you
handed that guy a fucking sticker at Bitter Cold and the last
yeah
one. And
yeah
I was like, oh shit, did I just hand that to the razors dude? The guy had a leather jacket. I was like, oh shit, I don't know
yeah
the guy from Hole in the Wall, but I was like, oh shit. Fuck it. Skate Mob is coming by. Coming through.
yeah. There you go, bro. So like, listen,
Watch out.
we're all gonna like. I would rather people be vocal and then them kind of like
Not say shit.
recount it, like own it accordingly, and like whatever, and everybody be accountable, then everybody be silent. Because for me, the way that I feel that this industry is going to move forward and mature and be better is by accountability
hmm
and from your mistakes. Because none of us are perfect. None of us are fucking, an angel. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
all do fucked up shit. You know what I mean? I've done stupid fucking things in my career that, had I not done them, I probably would be in a better place. But you know what? I'm human. And like the best thing I can do is just be accountable for my actions and be like, you know what? I was fucked up for telling Billy to fuck off, and I was fucked up for cursing out Miguel, and I was fucked up for doing what I did. And I would rather sit there and own that and be accountable than try and evade that and be like, no, I didn't do that, and
Yeah,
blah blah
yeah.
blah. Like,
hmm
I do. Like, what is that? What does that accomplish other than just being a fucking asshole? You know what I mean?
hmm
So like, that's the way I look at it. Is like, I'd rather be a real honest, and that's some shit, like that's some New York shit, where like, you gotta just fucking be real, dude. Like, I struggle with that being out here in Utah because like I'm a hard hitting motherfucker. I'm like, yo, bring the pliers and a blowtorch, baby. We're
hmm
fucking going to work. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
So like, like, but like I've also learned to like gotta tone that the fuck down. Like, not everybody fucks with that. So
Yeah.
like, you gotta humble yourself.
hmm
Like, not about you, dude. It's like, it's you plus everybody else. So like, you just have to be aware of like how are your interactions and the things that you say to other people, like how does that reflect on you? Like,
hmm
are you being genuine or are you just being a dick? And like, there's times where I need to tone myself back. Like, I'll write out shit, I'll look at it and I'll be like, whoop, pause,
Yeah.
pause, pause, like stop, dude. Like, no, like
Adulting.
adulting, adulting 101. Like, this is, you got to pull yourself the fuck back.
Yeah.
So like,
Read a good
I mean,
book.
that's the way. Yeah, like I just, for me at this day and age, I'm gonna be 36 years old. I'm a full grown adult. Like, I need to be more accountable for the
Mhm.
way I conduct myself. And like, the thing I think that, you asked me before, like, what's the goal of Daily Toast?
Mhm.
I guess the goal of Daily Toast is to provide genuine, honest journalism that is accountable for its actions. So,
Yeah.
like, if I write a story and then I get a reaction that might not be as plausible or whatever, rather than just shit on the person and be like, you're a fucking idiot, why not invite them to have a conversation about the topic
Yeah.
and discuss it further and just be like, hey, so this is your thought, this is my thought, we don't agree, but I still respect your opinion because you're a human being, and like I want to give you your floor to speak your subject, you know what I mean? Which isn't always easy because like you're gonna deal with people that you don't like see eye to eye with. Like
Mm.
I don't see eye to eye with Mike French, Derek French, whoever the fucking French guy was that like gave me shit about my Justin piece. And like I need to swallow that and take a humble pill and be like, well, this guy doesn't really align with my thoughts. So like how do I go about that and have a conversation that is mature and conducive, that isn't attacking and condescending and me acting like a child? You know
Keep
what I
on
mean?
doing
Because
daily
like
toast. Keep on doing
I'm
daily
trying,
toast so it gets in people's fucking brains.
man. No,
View
like
that
I'm just,
artwork, baby.
like I really, at the end of the day, Mike, I just want to give people content that they're excited to
Yeah,
watch. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, for
I
sure.
want to write.
It'll grow. It'll
Like
grow
I
to a
want.
place that you wouldn't even probably imagine.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like that when you're genuine with the things that you're making, that's usually what occurs. Is that it grows to be something beyond what you had expected to, because you're not holding it to a certain expectation. You're just going along to make the work that you feel that needs to be seen. And I think that for me with Daily Toast, that's what it is. Is that I'm trying to make work and content and articles and all this shit that I feel like isn't that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
people that's
Not
tuning in now, you
yeah.
guys know that Ryan Loewy's a extraordinary photographer. So look him up. Check out his Instagram. Check out his website. Check out all his creative content that he got up. Reach out to him. Book some
Yeah,
appointments. Get
fuck
to
yeah.
know who the fuck Ryan is and get that fucking shot that you want. You know what I'm saying?
Hell,
Get that
oh,
vision
man,
alive.
like
Bring it alive. You know?
fuck yeah. And let me say this: that I am always, always, always open to working with anybody.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck how good you are at skating, as long as you love this and you're in it and you love what this is and you love the feeling of wheels rolling beneath your feet.
Shoot him a
That's
DM.
all, bro. Like that's
Shoot the
all I,
DM. Mhm.
So Mike, I appreciate
And you
you
coming
so
to New
much.
York. You're coming to New York soon, right?
Yes, sir. I'm supposed to come out there at the end of August to celebrate my birthday. Fun fact: I
Oh, nice.
shared the same birthday as Michael Jackson.
Oh.
Um,
Yeah, if you give
um,
us the invite, have some songs coming up. We definitely pull up
fuck yeah,
if
baby.
you're
So
doing a
like, yeah,
song.
come out end of August.
Hmm.
See fam, see homies. Shoot some shit.
Yeah.
And the next big event that I intend on it's going to is going to probably be Blading Cup. I do want, I'm very upset that Billy can't do the invite and
Oh, it's all
the
good. We got the Brooklyn Blade Con that's coming up.
yeah.
Actually, there's some shit
Shout out,
tonight. I'm going to some
yo,
shit tonight.
fuck yeah! Shout out Brooklyn Blade Comp.
Hmm.
Shout out everybody. Shout out Craig. Shout out JP Prumiano from Butter TV. Shout out you, Mike.
Appreciate it. Thank
Shout
you.
out everybody, yo. Like
Hmm.
everybody that's doing their thing. And I don't think people realize we're all doing this for the love,
Hmm.
bro. We're doing this because we love rollerblading. It is not about money. It is not about social media clout. It is not about any of that. Anybody that has been doing this for as long as you have, me, Craig, JP, Malik Ashby, anybody else, we're doing this because we care. We don't get any, like, do we get really that much of a benefit other than our own self-satisfaction of doing it? There's nothing about this that like we're like, oh yeah, I'm fucking reeling in fucking 2K a week because I'm fucking running a wheel company.
Hmm.
Like no, dude, that's not what it is. So like
For the love,
anybody that
baby. To become
it's
till we
all for the
become
love.
billionaires.
Dead ass. I mean, like, shout out Hey Medina. and all the homies that did the comp for for Eric Estrada.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Bashi Pope, even though me and Bashi don't fuck with one another. Shout out Bashi for doing what he did. You know what I mean? So like, shout out Adonis Taylor. Shout out everybody.
Shout out
Jesus,
everybody from New
you know,
York.
everybody
So
from New
so
York,
when
bro.
Ryan
Like,
comes to New York, show the guys some love. Get some photography
yo,
and
listen,
get some shots
and
in.
like, yo, shout out Billy Fish. Like, shout out Billy O'Neill, like doing his thing with Mesmer, because I'll tell you right now, what Billy is doing with Mesmer, like, A, not easy. B, like, Billy is putting his heart and fucking soul into this
Yeah, he's
shit. And
definitely
like,
doing his thing. Shouts to Mesmer.
like, I know
Mesmer
me and Billy
skates.
have our me and Billy got our shit and whatever, but like, yo, for real, with me and Bill, like, as much as we had our shit, I respect Billy O'Neill and have a huge amount of respect and love for what he's been doing.
Yeah.
Like, there's like what he did last year with the fucking MetroCard Classic, like, chef's kiss, bro.
Well,
Like,
now more skater owned companies are coming out
dude,
now. It's not like,
like,
you know.
it's genuine. Like, what Billy's doing. And like, it's hard, dude, because Billy is fucking. I don't think people realize that, like, Billy is taking on what he's doing is like, he's putting his own financial stability at risk for skating. So like, when people like question what Billy does, and like, me and Billy don't see eye to eye on everything, but like, I see what Billy does, and I'm like, fuck, man, like, that man is for the business. Like, he cares. Like, he really is. So like, when I heard that bullshit about like him getting the business from Andy from Razors, and like they're trying to fuck with his business, like, I'm like, dude, fuck that, because Billy's been for the business since day one. You know what I mean? And like, he gives a fuck, and like, God bless that man, and I'm thankful that we have somebody
Mesmer needs to
like
come
Bill,
out with like a mixtape rap album.
right? Well, I told Bill, let's fucking have a rap battle or something. Like, me and fucking Colin Kelso will go at it. But like, yo, for real, jokes aside,
to them,
like, big shout out to Billy and what he's doing.
If you
Because,
guys
like,
want some good skates, mesmer.com. I'm sure you get some good
fuck
deals out
yeah,
there.
and like, shout out Bill, because like, Billy really has been putting his heart and soul into this business since he's been here, and like, Billy has been kind of undershined in a way. Like, he should have gotten a pro skate from Razors with his ego section. Like, the things that Billy has done, it's insane. And Billy is in his 40s now, and he's still skating at a level that's like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, what? Like, how? Like, how are you skating like that? Like, how are you skating drop rails, and you're okay with that? Like, you're gonna risk your body to do that? So,
yeah.
I just want to,
We had a dream team.
again,
Dream team, baby.
fuck yeah! Like, Bill really is the business, and honestly, he deserves all the love, recognition, and support that he deserves, because he really does deserve that, because Billy really has been a person in this industry that it's the business that goes first for him. He cares, dude, and like, if it isn't reflected on the team that he has built, I mean, he's putting new kids on, dude. He's putting young kids on. He's doing the shit we need. We need companies to promote that new young generation.
Yeah.
Because listen,
I like his team.
there's only a certain
I like his
amount
team.
of
Very
time.
sweet. They're very nice.
Just don't cross him, because if you piss him off, he'll fucking jump out of your ass, yo. Which he did to me. He said, "Right, I'm coming to your house and I'm fucking you up." And I said, "All right, let's go, dude." But for real though, like, Billy has been one of those genuine individuals that has put skating on farther than what anybody else could do, and I really commend him for committing himself to that, because it's not easy, dude. It's scary. It really is, because as much as we had that influx during the pandemic, it's dying off. Okay, it's not that momentum. Like, it's hard to maintain. So like, I really give Billy a shit ton of credit for putting his neck on the fucking line, because that's what he did. Okay,
it's only the beginning.
People don't understand, to get that deal with Matthias is not just Billy's working relationship. Billy put money into that, okay? And I don't quote me on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if his life savings didn't intertwine with that whole business model. So, like,
I'm sure.
You know, like, I give that man a shit ton of credit, because that is a
shouts to the big fish, the big bass,
big fish. Phil Rip, he's one of the best.
I might see him today. He probably pull up at the Brooklyn place. Not sure.
Hell yeah, yo. Let me know how that shit goes, yo. I'm like, I hate the fact that I'm not in New York anymore, because I'm like, fuck.
You'll be here next month.
But I'll be there next month. I'm doing my thing. So,
for sure. Just touch down if anything.
Well,
let's wrap things up, Ryan. It was a pleasure having you on the Skate Mob podcast.
Well, of course, and Mike, I appreciate so much you giving me the platform to, tell my story and all that shit.
Yeah,
I really
appreciate part one. This is part one. Part one of the shenanigans.
Yeah, we're doing like 16 episodes of this shit. Y'all ready?
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely check back in. Well, right, is there anything you want to say before we hang this up?
I would just say, big shout out to everybody that continues doing what they're doing and doing it for the love. And remember that, it's about having fun. We all want to just enjoy our lives. And, if anything, let skating be something that teaches you. Let it be an educational experience, because I'll tell you right now, I've learned more through being in this industry and learning how to be a better person, how to be a better photographer, how to be better in everything through my engagements with other individuals. So please don't see skating other than something that you just want to enjoy. You know what I mean? But also too, like, be respectful of those that are trying to like fucking help build it and grow it. You know what I mean? And like, and I could take this advice the most is like, we all need to just learn to be kinder to one another. Like, let's give ourselves a pass on some shit. You know what I mean? And not be so critical of one another, but let's also be forthright too and be honest. Like, if you see behavior in this industry that you're not cool with, then call it out, bro. And like, it's a tough thing to do, because like, fuck, I mean, the whole basis of what I'm doing is, part of it is calling out problematic behavior. But don't be afraid of that, bro. Like, don't be afraid of speaking up when you think that there's something wrong or an injustice, because where would you want to stand at the end of time? Would you want to be on the right side of history or the wrong side that didn't say a word? So I guess that would be my parting piece, is that, just be honest with who you are, and, make sure that you're retaining the respect for yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
the daily toast.
The daily fucking toast.
That's exactly. The side of your toast is going to be. That side of that toast, motherfucker.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you for tuning in to the Skate Mob podcast. Stay tuned for more exclusive content coming soon. If you enjoyed the show, please show your support by leaving a comment, liking, or subscribing to our social media platforms. That's all we ask for. Your support means a lot to us. #SkateMob Podcast. Peace.